How's it going, guys? Haven't posted a video in a while. Today I'm gonna start, I guess you can say a new series for the foreseeable future. I'm gonna be hopefully posting Leetcode questions and talking about how I would go about them and showing my own solution. Maybe on a daily basis, maybe a couple times a week, we'll see. But today we're gonna be working on question 1002. Question number 1002 on Leetcode, and hopefully you can find this useful whether you have like an interview and you want to talk through your thought process to an interviewer, or you're just trying to warm up to Leetcode questions. I am gonna do a mix of like easy, medium, and hard over time. I myself am not an expert on Leetcode right now, or just coding questions in general, so do feel free to give me feedback in the comments if you have any. I am going to try to get better over the year, or for however long. So enough talking, let's get into the question. So in this question, we're trying to find common characters, okay? We are given a list of strings, and each of these strings are going to be lowercase, right? So this is what we're given. This is going to be our A. We're going to be given, in this case, we have 3 words, and all of them are lowercases. The goal here is to return the common characters between all of the words that's given in the list, okay? For example, in this list, we have E, that's common between all of them, and L, that's common between all of them. And there's 2 L's actually that's common to 2 of them. That's where E came from and L came from. We don't care about the letter B, because B only occurs in the first and second word. We don't care about what else? We don't care about A because it only happens in the first, second word. We don't care about R because it only happens in the third word. Only the letter E happens in all of them, and L happens in all of these words. And L in this case actually occurs twice. That's why we have 2 L's here. This goes by the same logic, right? C occurs in all of them once, O occurs in all of them once, right? You may be confused. Hey, there's 2 O's here, there's 2 O's here. Yeah, too bad, there's only 1 O in the second word, okay? So let's get started. I usually don't run my solution until I'm done. I don't run my solution on Leetcode. I like to write it on my own code editor, because this is the first video on all these Leetcode questions. I'm just gonna show really quick on how I would set it up for Leetcode questions. Okay, so let's get started. So we have a fresh Python file. Just like I'm gonna have the same format. Then we're gonna have a class called solution, and then we're gonna have a method called common chars that takes in the instance of the object, the instance of the class, and the list of strings. Okay, so let's start off with, we have class solution, and then we have a method called common chars. 1 second, guys. This seems to be there we go. We have called something called common chars. That's our method. So once we're done on Sublime, I'll post it on Leetcode so I can test against the test cases they have, of course. So we have self, and then we have A, right? Just making sure this works, we're going to return something really basic. We're going to say hello there. If you're confused by anything I write, like the code I write here, do feel free to go back on my Python basics tutorial on for loops. Try accept whatever it is, the concepts you might be confused about or need some refresh, or you can just comment down and I'll help you out. Comment down this video. So we're gonna obviously have our main function, just like in every Python program. We have, let's say we have an instance called test, an instance of the class solution, and then we're gonna have our list. So this is the input we're gonna give, and then we're gonna let's just copy this really quick. We're just gonna run their second example. So this is our input, right? And how this is gonna work is, since test is an instance of solution, we can print out, we can call the method common chars, giving the input the list, because it takes an A, and A is a list here. And well, you may think, okay, let's run this and nothing really, so I ran this and nothing really happens. By the way, just in case if you don't know when I ran the code, if you pay attention down here, once it blinks, that means I ran the code. I know it happens super fast, but so the reason it's not running is because we didn't call main. And how we call main is we need to make sure this file is actually the main file that we're running. Right? I will explain that in a future tutorial if you're not familiar with this, but this is the name of the file. So we're gonna have hashtag 1002YT, and we need to make sure this is actually the main file. So we're calling this file as the main file, right? So if I included this in a different file, the name would be called whatever that file is called, and it's not going to be the same as main, right? So we'll explain that later on in another video. So we just need to make sure this is true, and then if this is true, we're just going to call main. So if we run it, we should see hello there. Okay, so everything's working. We have an object called test. It's an instance of the class solution. We have a list where we gave it as an input for the method common chars, and if we printed that out, that's why we have hello there. Cool. So this is really how you set up any Leetcode question on your own code editor. In my case, is Sublime. So the next thing we'll do is let's talk about how we actually do the question, right? Let's talk about how we actually do the question. So let's write down all the assumptions first. Okay, let's write down all the assumptions first. Okay, I just copy pasted this from the website, right? So we have so this is the list itself. So we have the total number of words ranges from 1 to 100. That's one of the assumptions. Each word can only be ranges from 1 to 100 in letters. And each of them are lowercases. Each of these words are lowercases, right? This isn't just something you write down just so that you're clear on what's going on, but it's not going to be that useful when we create the solution. So how you go about these questions? Well, how I go about these questions is the first one I'm going to start with the really brute force and not so clever way of doing it. And remember, my final solution isn't even the cleverest way. There's a lot of smart people out there. If you go on Leetcode, you'll see that you have all these people with like one-line answers that I don't even understand right now. So, but hopefully you can understand my solution. It's not that crazy, but cool enough to be interesting. So let me continue. So solution 1, we're gonna try brute force. Okay. So solution 1, I'm gonna try brute force. I'm gonna go about how I go. I'm gonna go about how I would solve this. So brute force, I'm just thinking I'm gonna check every letter in the first word and compare it with every other word in list A. Right? So let's have an example. So say we had, this is our input, right? So I'm gonna check each letter in the word cool with every other word in the list. Okay, and if it exists in all these words, then we have a check mark and we add that onto the new list. Right? So say we have the word cool. We're gonna go through C, and we're gonna see that the letter C, we check lock. Okay, C exists in lock and C exists in cook. Good. We add that onto the new list. Right. So this is the input. This is the output. All right. So now we added C. We go to the second letter and we see O. Okay, O exists in lock and O exists in cook. Great, let's add that in. Then we check the second O. We see that the second O, well, O exists in lock and O exists in cook. So let's give it a check mark. Right. This is the wrong solution, right? So this doesn't really make sense. We can see that the correct answer is like this, right? This is the correct answer. there's only one O common between all of these and one C common between all of these. So you can already see a problem here with the brute force method. We can't tell the difference between the first O or the second O if we're checking every letter with every other word, right? And we need to try to make that distinction. In essence, we're trying to kind of keep trying to know the frequency of every letter in each word, like in a tidier way. So here comes our second solution. And by the way, this would be an ON solution, because assuming it worked, because we are going to just going through the list once, right? We're checking cool with every other word in the list. That's why it's ON. N being the length of the list, or the number of words in this case. Solution 2. Okay, the motivation here is we just because we ran into the problem in solution 1 is we want a way to keep count of all the letters and tell the difference between, for in our example, first O and second O, right? If you're like me, the first thing I thought of, which is going to be really bad, is say we're going through the word cool, okay, and then sorry, just I forgot to say something. How the solution 2 is going to be based off on is going to be a dictionary. We're going to have a dictionary with keys as the letters that happens in these words, and the values are the occurrences that happen with each word. So for example, if we had cool, we would have a dictionary say we have a dictionary say we have, why is this happening? That kind of sucks. C, so we have the first key value as C, and then we say that it happened once. O, it happened twice, and L, it happened once. Okay. This looks alright, but we still can't tell the difference between the first O and the second O if we're going to check other words. And you might start thinking, are we going to have, lists of dictionaries for every word? When you start hearing those stuff, you should take a step back and be like, okay, I might be overthinking this. Alright, so first thing is, how do we differentiate the first O and the second O? You might do something stupid like me. I would do like O1, there's one occurrence. O2, there's a second occurrence of O, and then this is the first L. So this is the first occurrence of L, first occurrence of C. This looks ridiculous. But what it does show is a very important idea, is that we're able to keep count of every letter. The only thing we're missing is differentiating the first letter and the second letter, assuming that they're the same. In this case, it's O. So here comes the real solution that I thought of. Okay. Say we have cool again, okay, and we're trying to make this dictionary. What if instead of having lists of dictionaries for each word, what if we have a list of the letters that occurs, and we have keys as the letters that occurs, and each of the keys are going to have an array of numbers, an array of integers that represent how many times these letters occur in each word. Okay, what that means is we have the word cool. Okay, cool is going to have the letter C, and we're going to have a list with 1 because there's one C in here. And then we're going to go to the letter O, and we see that there's the number 2 in this word. And then finally we have the letter L, and we have the number 1 because it happened once here. What about the second word? Okay, so we have this. What about the second word? Second word, we're gonna have, what's our second word? Our second word is lock. Okay, so here's our, we were done with the first word. Well, lock, we see that L, we have another one, so we're going to append the occurrences onto this list. We have L again, so we're going to append, there's one occurrence in the second word, okay? O, there's one time it happened. C, there's one time it happened. And K, there's one time it happened. I hope you're getting the idea. Just to hit it home, I'm going to finish off with the last word, which is cook, right? Cook is going to have, this is going to be, we have one cook, we have two O's, we have one K, so we have one K here. So this dictionary actually solves a lot of our problems. We can see that it has, we can see that the length of these lists of integers tell us how many times do these letters occur between all these words, right? So if it was a length of 3 and we have 3 words, we know that it's actually a common character, right? You see that when K was 2 here, when the length was 2 here, we know that it only happens in 2 words, right? Imagine if we had like D and then it had like a length of like 2. Then we know that only happened in one of the words. So immediately we can tell C and O are going to be our letters. But then how do we know how many times it happens? Well, if you think about it, it's really just a min of these array of integers. Because if you're telling me O happened in all 3 of the words, 2 times in one of them, 2 times in the second one, and 1 time in the third one, of course, the maximum common occurrence amongst all these 3 words is 1, right? I don't care that there's 2 O's in cool. I don't care there's 2 O's in cook. I care that there's only 1 O in lock, right? Because only this 1 O matters in all 3 of these words. So it gives us those information. If the length of this array is equal to the number of words, check mark. And we're going to use the minimum of these an array of integers to tell us how many times are we going to add this key value, so this letter, into our output list. Okay. So with that being said, let's start coding. Okay. So let's just we start with our dict, and then we have our dictionary that, you know, this is what we're going to try to create. So our dictionary, and then let's just make this a bit bigger. Our dictionary, and then we're gonna loop through each word in A. Okay, so this is our list. We're gonna loop through each word in A. One more thing before I loop through each letter in each word. If you notice when we're going through our first word here, so this is just, let's just remove that first word here. We are actually checking how many letters are in the word, right? While there are 4 letters here, we're really just checking the letter C, the letter O, and the letter C, and the letter L, and how many times that these occur in the word. What that means is we're just looping through the unique letters that exist in the word. We're not looping through C-O-O-L, we're looping through C-O-L, which is where set comes in, right? We want to loop through the unique letters within the word. So let's call this unique, and let's call this word. So if what unique does, what set does, is we have the word cool, and then it turns it into a set with C, O, and L. Right? Hopefully that makes sense. And we're not looping through the word anymore. We're looping through the unique letters in the word. Okay. Now that we have that, we just need to count how many times these unique letters occur in the word. This is why we have something called frequency. So how many times do these letters occur? We have the actual word, and then we're going to count how many of these letters exist in there, right? So letter is going to be C, O, L, and we're going to check how many times does C occur in cool, how many times does O occur in cool, how many times does L occur in cool. Okay. we now that we have the key, or now that we have the frequency, let's add it into our dictionary, right? So we have our dict letter, right? This is going to be our key, is going to be equal to we're going to append our new number onto our dict, right? So we're going to have the letter C, we're going to append the number 1 if we're on the same word, and then same for O, we're going to append 2, and then we're going to append 1. You might already notice there's a huge mistake here. What if C doesn't, what if the key letter C is not even in the dictionary? That pair of key and value doesn't even exist in the dictionary here. Well, if C doesn't exist yet, then this will run into a key error. Okay, what we need to do is just have a try and accept block, right? So we're going to try this, right? Because this will only ever work if the key and value pair has been already made. And if it's not, we're going to have a key error, so let's accept that error. All right, and we're going to say, we're going to make that key value happen. All right, so we still have our new key, and we're going to have our new value, which is our new list. So once this is made, the next time we go to C again, we're going to append the new frequency of the new word onto our dictionary. Okay. Once we have this, assuming this works, we're going to end up with this. And our next step is to finally make the list of the letters that we're trying to return. So right now we're trying to return this. Okay. What are we going to do here? Okay. How do we turn something like this into this? Okay. Well, remember I mentioned before, we're going to need two things. We're going to need the number of words. Okay, we're going to do the number of words because we need to check through this dictionary which one actually includes all of the words, right? Length of 3, so we want C and O, but not L and K because they don't have all our words in there. These letters don't exist in all of these words. We're going to need our common occurrences, so this is what we're actually returning. Okay. Finally, let's loop through the keys in our dict. Okay, let's loop it through. Occurrences, we're going to have occurrences equal to the length of our dict key. Right? So this is going to give us back the array of integers we have here. That's why I call them occurrences. And then we know that, like we mentioned, if the occurrences, so the length of this array is equal to the number of words that we have. Okay, so this means it's the letter is in all words. We're gonna have single occurrence, right? So this is we're trying to find. Why I'm calling this single occurrences because we're talking about one single letter amongst all the words. This is why I'm calling it single occurrences, and this is going to be the minimum of this array. Like I mentioned before, the logic follows. So in this we'll get back 1, and this will get back 1. Because we need this number to know how many times we're going to add this letter into the new list. Once we're done with that, we have let's finally add it into the list. So we have for I in range of single occurrences, right? So if this was 2, then we know we're adding C twice, so we're going to loop it through twice. If let's say K happened 10 times, the minimum was 10, then we're going to loop it through. We're going to add it into our new list 10 times of the letter K. So for I in single occurrences, we're going to finally append occurrences of that letter, which is our key. And finally, we're going to return common occurrences. Hopefully, this all makes sense. If you have questions, remember to post it in the comments. So let's run this real quick. So we should have a list of C and O, assuming this works. We have invalid syntax here. If occurrences equal, what's the syntax error here? Oh, Boolean. And then unique is not defined. Unique is not defined because I misspelled it. So we have C and O here. Let's just run through the second one here too to make sure the multiple L's work. And we have LLE. So remember, it says you may return the answer in any order. So we got it. Finally, let's post this on Leetcode. Let's see if it works. Okay, let's see if it works. And then we're gonna have some tab issues here because Leetcode kind of sucks. And then we're gonna submit, and we see that it passes all the tests. And I mean, I passed it before, but you know what I mean. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. I'm gonna keep posting these videos. I enjoy making these videos, even though it takes a while. I think it warms, you know, my head for programming and stuff like that. So see you in the next video.